Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. Want to say good afternoon. My name is Willie Hardy, Director of Student Support Services here at Halifax Community College. We have with us today SSS staff, Ms. Donna Cooper, Ms. LaQuanta Sledge. At the moment, we are here for college chat with Ms. Amy Denton of CFNC, and we would like to thank her for coming out today. Ms. Denton, we thank you. With that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Denton and look forward to the information that she has for us today.
All right, thank you, Willie. If I can share, if you can give me the privileges to share my screen, I'll do that.
Yes. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
And can you see that okay?
Yes.
Very good. All right, so this is these are several things we're going to talk about today. We're going to look at some sources for students to find scholarships, how colleges determine its cost of attendance and financial aid, two different types of application forms for students to be considered for financial assistance, and RDS and North Carolina Countdown to College. We are officially in the month of October, and that's what we have in North Carolina is Countdown to College to help students prepare for applications and FAFSA. So let's first look at some scholarship sources, and feel welcome anytime anyone has questions just to ask them or put them in the chat, and we can certainly recognize your questions. We know that money for college and whatever your choices may be for advancing after high school or advancing beyond the traditional early college or traditional school setting, we know that money is going to be a part of that and helping you afford your college education. So these are four primary sources of where you could find scholarship funding. Number one, we always start from a very local level, right there in your county, in Halifax County. What surrounds you? These typically are scholarships from local community organizations. It could be religious-based organizations, workplaces that will come into the school counseling office. So check with your school counselor always to make sure that you're not missing out on any scholarship opportunities. And then secondly, we ask that students check out the ones that we list at College Foundation. We have about 110 or so that we currently include on our website, and this is the shortcut, the cfnc.org/scholarships, of where you can find those dollars. And then thirdly, we always tell students to find out what's available at the colleges or the college you are interested in going to. Usually they post them on their college websites. So take a look at those or find out from your colleges how you can be considered for those scholarships. And then lastly, from a very global, much more broader level, national databases of scholarships where any student in our nation can be up for these scholarships. Here are just a few examples. The largest database that I'm aware of that it seems to be the most popular would be through College Board. Their portal is called Big Future, and we recommend all students, I even tell 9th and 10th graders to get on this site. So go ahead and log in, create a profile, and once the database searches to find scholarships that are a match to the student's profile, they'll get lists and they'll get emails with list of scholarships that the student could be eligible for. So these are four just examples here. It may be that the counselors at each of the early colleges or the traditional schools will have other examples, but these tend to be the largest that we recommend. College Board being the number one for sure.
Okay. And
then here are those college costs. You know, every college in the nation will have tuition and fees. If you're going to be living on a college campus, you'll see room and board expenses. And these are going to be the charges that come to you in the spring of the year. The college will bill families for these charges. And then we know that students will have indirect cost as well. They have to have books and supplies, but there's so many very creative ways now to get books. You can do them online, or it could be in a virtual method that the professor teach the class. So you may never have to have a hard copy book. It really varies for every class and every professor. But collectively, a college is going to add the direct and indirect costs together to come up with the total cost of attendance. And the good news is students can receive financial aid up to the cost of attendance, not just up to the direct cost, the cost of that college, the cost that the student will be billed for, but up to the cost of attendance. So the direct and indirect fees all added together. And when it comes to the word financial aid, and we say it and we hear it all the time, what does it really mean? Any type of money that the student will receive to go to college is going to be considered financial aid. There are four primary types, though. Number one would be this grants that you see right here, and scholarships, number two. And they fall in a category that we classify as gift aid, because in most circumstances, students never pay those dollars back. They're free monies that the student can get and go to college. And we hope that students do receive those types of fundings. The third type will be employment, like a work-study job. Students can have opportunities to work around their class schedules on a college campus and get paid for that. And quite often, if it's a family choice, the student can pocket that money. It's totally up to the family. And then the fourth type of financial aid is going to be considered loans. And we all know that one day when we borrow, we have to pay those dollars back. The good news is that all students planning to pursue a college education will be eligible for federal loans. There is no doubt about that. As a dependent student, they have limits on how much they can borrow. So all of that information will be shared with students once their colleges process their FAFSA and start awarding financial aid. We hope that all students are going to qualify for some sort of merit-based money. The good news about merit money is that the student is being rewarded, and I like to say the word reward, because of how well they've done something right there at their school, how well they've performed academically, their classes, their class selection, their GPA. Some students are going to have another special type of talent. Could be a vocal, dance, art, theater, music. Some students are going to go to college on athletic scholarships. So those are dollars we call merit. Merit-based money has nothing to do with the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. FAFSA is only considered what we call right here, need-based aid. And based on the income of the household, assets, investments, all of that information that a family is going to put on a FAFSA form. That's why the government asks for it, to determine, does that student have a financial need in the household to receive grant funding, federal or state funding when they go to college, and or student loans. And now let's move into the application part of financial aid. There could be two applications that some students have to complete. The CSF is the lesser known of the two, but fortunately, only limited colleges require the CSS profile. So Davidson, Duke, Elon, Chapel Hill, and Wake Forest. Those are the 5 colleges in North Carolina that require the CSS profile. And of course, there are going to be many from other states. So when a student goes to the CSS profile site, which is through College Board, you'll see a list of all the states. Pick your state and look at all the colleges that require the CSS profile. Does anybody have questions about this so far, or any information? If not, no. We'll keep progressing. All right. So now let's look at the second application that's certainly more widely known, the FAFSA. Everybody has heard of the FAFSA at some point in time. It is the #1 application source to receive financial aid from colleges. And again, when I say financial aid, I'm referring back to the list that I just showed you: grants, scholarships, work study, and loans. So students will have to come to FAFSA.gov to complete the application. It's open now. It opens every October 1st of every year. And every year students have to complete FAFSA. Before students and parents can actually submit it, they will need what we call their FSA ID. FSA stands for Federal Student Aid ID. It's a username and password that the student creates, and it's going to serve as the signature. So I think it's like step 6 of the FAFSA. There's only 7 parts of the FAFSA. Step 6, the student will be asked to enter their ID, and the parent will be asked to enter their ID, which allows them to electronically sign the FAFSA and submit it. Okay. So here are some reminders that we're going to look at. Again, it opens up October 1st. We need to make sure that students are meeting any type of financial aid or preferred financial aid deadline. If a college has that on their campus, not all colleges will have preferred dates to have their FAFSA submitted, but sometimes they will. So make sure you know that. Find that information out from your colleges. And also look at, consider the timing of when you want to submit your admissions application. Is that going to be an early action or an early decision? Are you going to apply regular decision or rolling admissions? That could all tie in together with the application deadlines for financial aid. So make sure you know that information. You can put up to 10 colleges on the FAFSA. And luckily, you do not have to wait until you are admitted to put that college on the FAFSA. So for example, let's say you apply to NC State, North Carolina Central, wherever it may be, and you haven't heard an admissions decision yet. When you're getting ready to apply to college, you still put that college on the FAFSA. So when you are an admitted student, come the spring of the year, remember when the financial aid office is ready to start awarding aid, they'll see that you're an admitted student so they can process your FAFSA. So that's the main thing. Put the colleges on the FAFSA, even if you haven't been admitted or even if you haven't even applied yet for admissions to the college. Now let's talk about who the parents are. Who can help a dependent student file the FAFSA? And dependent students mean several reasons, various reasons why a student will be considered dependent. And the bulk of our students filing financial aid will be considered dependent. That means that they are not homeless, that they're not an emancipated minor, they're not married, they don't have a child, they're not 24 years of age yet, they don't have a legal guardian. These are all the reasons why a student would be considered dependent. So parents must provide information on the FAFSA with the student. And here's who our government says are parents. Biological or adoptive parents, married to each other or not married, doesn't matter. But the student lives with both of those parents. That's the main thing. Then both must put their data on the FAFSA. Could be a single parent who's widowed or never been married. Or in the case of a separation or divorce, the student is going to put whoever he or she lives with more than 50% of the year. So that's the parent that must help the student file the FAFSA. And as you see here on the screen, if by chance that biological or adoptive parent has now remarried and there is a step parent in the household, step parent information must be put on the FAFSA as well. So from looking at this, grandparents, aunts and uncles, other relatives, non-relatives cannot file a FAFSA unless they are indeed have adopted the student. Then by all means, they're considered parents at that time. So in many situations, there are going to be special circumstances that apply to the household. In the case down here at the bottom, that a student is not considered independent, because they could not answer yes to any of those questions on the FAFSA that I just talked about, but they don't live with their parents. No one has adopted them. They don't live with parents. So what's going to happen in that case? If a student does not live with a parent, if a student does not know where their parents are, if a student does not have parents that support them, then they need to have a conversation with the financial aid office to explain what's going on in their household. And they're going to be able to check off an option right below those dependency questions that says, I'm unable to provide parent data. And that makes the world of difference to a financial aid office, because they're going to have to know what's going on in the household. But look at the other reasons here on this screen that you could also fall into special circumstances. Maybe a parent has lost their job. Look at what we just come through, COVID. There are a lot of situations where parents were unemployed or lost, had a reduction in their work hours. Maybe, sadly, there's been a death in the family, or a parent has separated or divorced. Since the time that you filed the FAFSA, if these things happen, make sure you're having the conversation with the financial aid office, because that will make the world of difference to your eligibility for financial aid. And very fortunately, the government has made filing the information regarding income much easier for households. So up here at the top, you see step 5. This is financial information. Remember, I told you there are only 7 parts of the FAFSA. Step 5 right here is where the family, the parent, and the student, if the student worked and filed taxes, then they're going to have to report the same information their parents have to report right here at section 5. So the parent can import their taxes if indeed they file taxes. And for this upcoming year, the 23-24 school year, and that's going to be the year of the FAFSA that they're completing, parents will use tax information from 2021. It's always 2 years prior to the year of enrollment. So in that case, for the 23-24 form, 21 taxes will be used. So if the parent is presented with the option to link to the IRS, then they need to click that to pull in data that's already sitting with the IRS, and that information will fill in the blanks for their finances on the FAFSA. So that's very helpful. And look up here at number 6, step 6 rather, sign and submit. So when you sign and submit, that's going to be the 6th step, and number 7 will be a confirmation, which is going to look like this, very similar to this. The student will be told that their FAFSA was successfully submitted to the federal government. They've got it, it's going to be processed, and then what happens next? The student will be shared some information about in a couple of days. They're going to get an email with a review of all of the information they put on the FAFSA, and we call that a student aid report. So they're going to get that copy of their student aid report, and they're going to be told that the information that was supplied on the FAFSA will be sent to the colleges that the student put on the FAFSA. And lastly, the student should expect to see and what we call an EFC, your expected family contribution. The end result of your FAFSA is the EFC. It's going to be a dollar amount, and it could range like what's showing here on the screen, all zeros, to $999,999. You, of course, hope and want your EFC to get closer or be closer to the zeros, because there is only a certain threshold of EFCs that will make a student eligible for federal and state grants. And the same will apply for any type of institutional grant. Okay? So that's how a little bit about the process of the FAFSA works. And just make sure you're checking your emails to get any information from the college or the federal government regarding your financial aid being processed. So we're going to wrap up with a couple slides here, specifically talking about what's going on this month in October. Number one, the residency determination service. All students in North Carolina wanting to go to one of our colleges in North Carolina must submit their residency determination interview. That's what it is. It's a set of questions asked of every family to see if indeed that student is considered an in-state resident of North Carolina. It's a part of a three-step process. You've got to do RDS, FAFSA, and college applications. And we want to make sure students who are certainly in-state residents are charged correctly, because we know that colleges at our public universities or our 16 universities or 58 community colleges have a difference in in-state charges versus out-of-state charges for tuition. So we want to make sure our students are charged correctly if indeed they are residents of our state. Okay. And the good news is if a student already has their CFNC account, they don't have to create another account. Because RDS is a behind the scenes page at CFNC, they're going to use their same login information for CFNC, their same username and password. Remember, the CFNC website is totally different from FAFSA. I get that question asked sometimes. So I use my same login for FAFSA as CFNC? No, it's two different logins that serve totally two different purposes. Here is another way to get to your RDS interview by clicking right here on this, or not clicking, but going to ncresidency.org. Or when you're on CFNC's website, go to the Apply tab. We have four main parts of CFNC: plan, apply, pay, and save. So go to the Apply tab and you'll find quick access to residency. And lastly, we have, during the month of October, we help students and families make sure that they're doing everything that they should to progress to the next step beyond high school. And one of these things is sponsoring this particular month a lot of webinars and sessions that students and families can take part in. We have 4 weeks in the month of October, and each week has a different focus. So we're already past week 1. Now we're in week 2. So we have FAFSA and RDS tonight, or actually this afternoon, and Thursday. We have 2 sessions specifically about FAFSA and RDS. And you could come to our website at the cfnc.org/C2C, countdown to college, and register for any of these events. Next week is the big week. Next week is college application week, October 17th through the 21st, where the bulk of our colleges in our state waive application fees. So you don't have to pay those fees, and that could be a savings of a lot of money. You know, college applications can be $50, $75, $100. Some may be fortunate enough to only charge $35. But nonetheless, that's money if you didn't already qualify for a waiver. You can certainly have it automatically waived next week, but you have to come through CFNC to apply. You cannot go out to the common application. You cannot go out to the college's web portal to apply because they may charge you. You have to be routed to cfnc.org and click on the college from our website. Okay.
Okay.
You can come to the same address here on the screen, cfnc.org C2C, and see the list of the colleges. Counting our 58 community colleges, we have 100 out of the 111 colleges in North Carolina waiving the fee. NC State, Chapel Hill, our UNC Wilmington, UNC Greensboro, Duke, that's 5 right there of the 11 that still lit. They don't waive fees. But the bulk of all of our other campuses and all of our HBCU campuses will waive the fees as well. Okay. And lastly, let's sum up some of these ways to find the money. That's what we're here for. And that's what your purpose is going forward, to find ways to help you fund your education, as much of it as free as possible. So FAFSA is always number one. And then look at those different areas of where you can find scholarships from a very local level to a much more broader level, which are those national scholarships. And remember, everything that you do to find money for college will be free. So never pay for any type of company or person that seeks you out to say, I'm going to find you scholarships for college, or I'm going to help you submit your FAFSA, because that's going to be a scam. Because everything that you do, you have resources right there at Halifax, and certainly in the state of North Carolina through CFNC and other measures to make sure you do all this for free and not be charged. And if you want to follow us on College Foundation, we have many different ways that you can connect with us, certainly for the month of October, with everything going on with Countdown to College. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So feel welcome to follow us in this way. And those are that's College Foundation, the ways that you can locate us on their sites. And I am on Facebook and Instagram at Amy at CFNC. So feel welcome to follow me and take a look at everything that I've posted and any other thing throughout the year that's going to help you in this process. Go visit CFNC's website. If you don't have an account already, create an account. Students primarily need accounts to do these things. They have to have an account to apply. They have to have an account to send their high school transcript, which is a free process of sending a transcript through us to any college in North Carolina. They'll have to do RDS. They'll have to have an account to create and to take career assessments. But pretty much everything else, they're on their own. You don't need a login to actually visit CFNC. And always, always, as a backup to the resources you have right there at school, feel welcome to call us. We have 2 call centers for College Foundation. One is based in Raleigh and the other is based in Greensboro. So you're welcome to call us anytime to make sure you get the help that you need. All right. And I think that's it, the information. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing and let's go back to the main screen here. And if any questions have come up, I can certainly address those. Or Willie, if you have any questions, feel welcome to ask those and we can talk about them too.
You know what? I was sitting there listening and I was trying to come up with some questions, but, you know, I think you did a good job of pretty much covering the bases. I think, you know, for students who may be actively using CFNC, if you have any questions, you know, please feel free. Did you have an email listed? I didn't catch it if it was.
No, I didn't. But if you need to, I don't typically advertise this because I'm so bombarded.
I got you.
With questions. I always say start with the resource of your school first.
Okay.
And if that can't solve the answer or get the question answered, then feel welcome to reach out to me.
They can contact me. It's fine.
Yeah,
and then I may reach out to you if it's something I can't find.
Perfect.
Okay.
And I do have families and students reach out to me on my social media, like through Amy at CFNC. They quite often message me that way. But I found that has tended to be the best way to get the help rather than emailing me directly, as much as I'm on the road, especially this time of year. And I never want to make sure, I never want to not respond to a student or a family in a timely manner, or anyone for that matter. So I think it's the best plan of action.
I understand. Well, Ms. Denton, if there aren't any questions, I want to just thank you again for your time and your information and your content knowledge on financial resources, especially. This is one of the main reasons we wanted to have this session with you. From my standpoint, I felt like the students could get something out of it and maybe even help pay for college. So we just want to thank you again. Thank you for being such a staple over the years. You know, we worked together for some time, and just want to really thank you and wish you all the best moving forward and into holiday season. Just wish you all the best, and we will probably see you again next year around about this time.
That sounds great.
If you're available, okay.
That sounds great. Thank you, Willie, for having me, and thank you all for attending today. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And if no one has any questions for me, thank you all for coming. Have a great afternoon.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.